गुड आफ्टरनून एवरीबडी वेलकम टू क्यूरियस माइंड्स। आज का जो हमारा टॉपिक है वो है सोशल चेंज एंड डेवलपमेंट इन इंडिया एंड इसका चैप्टर 2 कल्चरल चेंज एंड दिस इज़ पार्ट 3 ऑफ द वीडियो. Now we were going to explain this part basically in two parts, okay? But because you people are, requesting us to make videos fast and complete this series first, so yeah, this will be the last part of this chapter, and we will try to finish this series by the end of this month, most probably. And I'm looking forward to all the support we can get. So thank you for all the support. You guys are requesting us, and and you're still bearing with us. So it takes a bit of time to make these videos. So don't worry, we'll surely complete it. We will try our level best, and if you have any recommendations, do write it in the comment section, okay? We'll be looking forward to it. So without any further ado, let's start with the chapter. This is part 3, okay? So let's start with it. Now, westernization. Otherwise, we had to do just westernization in this part, but we are going to do all the parts which are left in this chapter, okay? So this is, I don't know how much long this video will be, but let's start. Now, westernization. What do you mean by westernization? M.N. Srinivas, he defines westernization as the changes brought about in Indian society and culture as a result of over 150 years of British rule. The term subsuming changes occurring at different levels like technology, institution, ideology, and values. So he defines it as changes जो कि इंडिया के सोसाइटी में आए हैं, कल्चर में आए हैं, एंड different aspects में. It could be the technological aspect of it, or the institutional aspect, or the ideological aspect, okay? तो जिसमें भी कोई change आया है उसको westernization, he terms it as westernization. Now there are different kinds of westernization. Let's understand what are the different kinds here. See, very first kind is, it refers to the emergence of a westernized subcultural pattern through a minority section of Indians who first came in contact with Western culture. अभी ये क्या है? सी इनिशियली ये जो कल्चर था, देयर वाज दिस माइनॉरिटी सेक्शन, बहुत कम लोग थे इंडिया में, विच वर इन्फ्लुएंस्ड बाय, और मतलब जिनको ये कल्चर पता लग रहा था. सो क्योंकि उस टाइम पे जनरली पीपल वर नॉट दैट रिच ऑल्सो, तो जो थे द पीपल हु केम अक्रॉस दिस कल्चर वो बहुत कम थे. सो वन काइंड इज emergence of that pattern, एक वेस्टर्नाइज्ड कल्चरल पैटर्न यू सीन माइनॉरिटी इंडियंस उस टाइम पे. अभी दिस इंक्लूडेड सब कल्चर ऑफ इंडियन इंटेलेक्चुअल्स उस टाइम पे हु नॉट ओनली adopted many cognitive patterns or ways of thinking or styles of life but supported its expansion too. Now we'll see there were certain reformers who were against British, but then they supported the use of English language and studying sciences. So there were many reformers who actually supported it. So there was this small minority of Indian intellectuals which got their ways of thinking also, and adopted their styles of life also, and also supported its expansion. So one kind of westernization is this. Second, other than this, is that there has also been this general spread of Western cultural traits, such as the use of new technology, maybe the dress, the food, the changes in habits and style of people in general. ठीक है? You have to understand that it is not only, when we talk about westernization, it does not involve only, like if you call a person as westernized, तो ऐसा नहीं है कि क्लोथ से है, या बिल्कुल इंटरनली वैल्यूज भी उसको एप्ट वैल्यूज ऑल्सो ही हैज़ टू रिकॉग्नाइज, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. वेस्टर्नाइजेशन इन्वॉल्व्स द इमिटेशन ऑफ एक्सटर्नल फॉर्म्स ऑफ कल्चर, जैसे कि द काइंड ऑफ ड्रेस यू वेयर, हाउ यू वॉक, हाउ यू टॉक. ठीक है? इट डज नॉट मीन नेसेसरली कि people also have to adopt modern values of democracy and equality. In other words, जब वेस्टर्नाइजेशन, ये आज का कंसेप्ट है, वी अंडरस्टैंड वेस्टर्नाइजेशन एज वी गो बियॉन्ड आवर क्लोथ्स, कि ठीक है कपड़े पहनने से कोई वेस्टर्नाइज नहीं होता है, बेसिकली इट्स द थॉट प्रोसेस, बट जनरली इट डज नॉट इन्वॉल्व, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. इट ऑल्सो इन्वॉल्व्स इमिटेशन ऑफ एक्सटर्नल cultures, external form of culture, and also internal ज़रूरी नहीं है कि आप इक्वालिटी एंड डेमोक्रेसी पे भी विश्वास रखें. Even if you wear a particular kind of clothes, you're westernized. Okay. Now, let's move further and let's understand more about it. There are many diverse levels that cultural change resulted from our colonial encounter with the West. Whenever you talk about anything in sociology, you have to remember and you have to mention that whatever we are today, it is because of the colonial encounter with the West. We've had this colonial encounter and it has impacted us intentionally and unintentionally. You have to realize that. In contemporary context, often conflicts between generations can be seen as cultural conflicts resulting from westernization. अब इसका क्या मतलब है कि आज के ज़माने में अगर देखा जाए कंटेम्प्रेरीली व्हाट हैपेंस इज ये जो कॉन्फ्लिक्ट्स है ना जनरेशन के बीच यू मतलब लेट्स टेक इट एज यू नो योर डिफरेंस विद योर मे बी योर ग्रैंड मदर और योर पेरेंट्स इवन. तो व्हाट डू यू थिंक उन जो आपकी वैल्यूज़ हैं यू विल थिंक कि दे आर नॉट मॉडर्नाइज्ड इनफ, दे आर नॉट वेस्टर्नाइज्ड इनफ, इनको समझ नहीं आ रहा है. तो जो जनरेशन गैप है ना वो बेसिकली कल्चरल कॉन्फ्लिक्ट की तरह देखा जाता है इंडिया में. बिकॉज उनका कल्चर जो है वो कुछ और कहता है, हमारा कल्चर कुछ और कहता है, एंड द ओनली कॉन्स्टेंट थिंग इज़ चेंज. सो वी गॉट टू चेंज. बट what happens is ये जो कॉन्फ्लिक्ट्स हमारे बीच में होते हैं हमारे पेरेंट्स के साथ या ग्रैंड पेरेंट्स के साथ, बेसिकली इट इज़ इट इज़ seen as cultural conflicts जो कि westernization से, because the next generation will always be more westernized than you have to realize it. Okay. So once you see the kids of today, they use phones, like 1 year 2 year old child will also use phone. So when we started using phones, I think we all must have been around 6th or 7th. So people these days, next generation will always be more westernized. That westernization can be in terms of technology also, as I'm talking, or ideologically also. Okay. Srinivas suggested that while lower caste thought to be Sanskritized, जो कि हम पहले पढ़ चुके हैं, if you haven't, gone through the video, please go through it, ठीक है, and understand what Sanskritization means. जबकि lower castes sought to be sanskritized, उनका वो चाहते थे कि वो संस्कृताइज्ड हो, तो upper caste sought to be westernized. This is what Srinivas thinks, okay? He suggests this. Now, in a diverse country such as India, this generalization is difficult to maintain. See, when you talk about India, you have to realize कि ना India के लिए you cannot use जो general terms नहीं होते कि India is like that या India की society is like that, a particular caste in India is like that, or a particular religion in India is like that, because we are complex. हम इतने कॉम्प्लेक्स है कि आज तक हम खुद नहीं समझ पाए हम क्या हैं. तो देर आर नो जनरलाइजेशंस, एंड जनरलाइजेशंस इन इंडिया आर वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू मेंटेन. फॉर इंस्टेंस, जैसे हम कह रहे हैं कि लोअर कास्ट को संस्कृताइज्ड होना है और अपर कास्ट को वेस्टर्नाइज्ड. नाउ in the book there is this example given, studies of Thayers, okay, which were not upper caste in Kerala, but they have shown their efforts to westernize. तो despite of not being upper caste, वो वेस्टर्नाइज होना चाहते हैं. Elite Thayers appropriated British culture as a move towards a more cosmopolitan life that critiqued caste. तो they wanted a more cosmopolitan life, एक citizen of the world वाला concept. But let's understand कि generalization नहीं होनी है. This is मतलब ये सजेस्ट कर रहे हैं, बट जनरलाइजेशंस कैन नॉट हैपन इन टर्म्स ऑफ especially if you talk about India. So let's move further and understand what modernization and secularization is. Okay. Now, before we continue with it, this is the last section of this chapter. If you're not understanding, do write it in the comment section, and please support us. Okay. Now, modernization and secularization. See, from the 19th and more so from the 20th century, the term modernization, it began to be associated with positive and desirable values. देखिए, मॉडर्नाइजेशन को ना कभी भी बुरा नहीं माना गया है, कभी भी नेगेटिव कॉनोटेशन में यूज़ नहीं किया गया है. सो पीपल एंड सोसाइटीज दे वांटेड टू बी मॉडर्न. अभी व्हेन एवर यू से मॉडर्न, अभी मॉडर्न का मतलब इज़ नॉट दैट it has never been used in negative connotation in that century, from that century, okay? So in early years, it referred to the improvement in technology and production processes, उस time पे, Let's understand. Increasingly, however, the term had a wider usage. अब wider usage में क्या आया? Scope बढ़ जाता है. It referred to the path of development that much of the West Europe or North America has taken and suggested that other societies both have to and ought to follow the same path of development. See, earlier years में जब वो technology and production तक ही सीमित था, now what happened what happened later on, एक wider usage में term use किया गया है and it referred to the path of development. कैसी डेवलपमेंट? जो कि वेस्ट में हुई है, दैट काइंड ऑफ डेवलपमेंट, एंड also suggested that the other societies should also follow that path of development. Okay, the changes in India took place within colonial context. The story of our modernization and secularization is therefore quite distinct from their growth in the West. I've already told you, whenever you understand any concept, देखिए एग्जाम्स में never use, never stop using colonial वाला section. Okay, because आप जब तक colonial अपना past mention नहीं करेंगे, you will not be able to understand any concept that is there. Okay, तो modernization and secularization भी आप उसी में समझेंगे, because without that हमारा जो growth हुआ है, जो technology हमारी increase हुई है, technological change है, ideological change है, ठीक है, वो different है other countries से. Why? Because we have had this colonial past, और जिससे हम मतलब छुटकारा नहीं पा सकते हैं. Let's make one point clear here. Okay, so whatever our growth is, it is very different from the West. Why? Because of our colonial past, because of our encounter with the colonial power. Okay, now India में क्या होता है? We all know we often marry within a caste or community. We are trying to leave that custom or tradition back, but then it is still there. So generally we tend to marry within a caste or community, and religious beliefs still continue to dominate lives आज भी. At the same time we do have a scientific tradition also. अभी we are a very mixed, मतलब आप समझ सकते हैं कि we have this mixed culture. We are modern also, we are traditional also, and I told you it is very difficult to understand India because we Indians haven't understood it well yet. Okay, let's hope we do it further in time. We also have this vibrant secular and democratic political system. Yes. At the same time, we have caste and community based mobilization. Yes. मतलब everything is happening. Religious beliefs भी important है हमारे लिए, scientific tradition भी important है हमारे लिए, secular values भी important है. देखो, religion भी important है और secularism भी important है. ये बहुत paradoxical है. It is very contradicting और oxymoronic. ठीक है, तो democratic political system में वो भी है, and we have huge diversity, जो कि बहुत मुश्किल है democracy and diversity को साथ में रखना, but we are surviving and we are surviving very well. तो caste and community भी mobilized है हमारी. So it would be very simplistic अगर हम बोलें कि it is a complex combination just as a mix of tradition and modernity, as the tradition and modernity themselves are fixed entities. देखिए, when you start explaining India as just this complex combinations of modernity and traditions, ये इंडिया के लिए ही बुरा है. Why? Because traditions are not fixed entities and neither is modernity. दोनों चेंज होते हैं. The only thing constant in life is change, because change आना ही है. So how do we understand it? कि fixed entity नहीं है, they are evolving. ठीक है, they are refining the concepts themselves. So we have already seen that plurality and tradition of argumentation have been defining features of traditions in India. They are in fact constantly being redefined. मैंने आपको पहले ही बोला था, once you start reading about education in India, you realize that हमारे यहाँ पे जब English आई है, जो उसका इफ़ेक्ट हुआ है बहुत ही unintentional है, because we got to know about this magnanimous literature available in the world, और उससे हमें ideas मिले हैं, right? उन ideas से we have adopted some ideas, and because of some ideas we have started questioning our own. Okay, and there are some ideas where we've started questioning their ideas also. So you have to understand, ये redefinition, all this is working, ये evolution is working. So let's move further and understand कि in the modern West, secularization क्या है? It has usually meant a process of decline in the influence of religion. Religion का कम होना मतलब you becoming more secular. Understand it this way. It has been an assumption to all of all theorists of modernization that modern societies become increasingly secular. अब ये बहुत जनरल स्टेटमेंट है, ओके, कि थ्योरिस्ट्स कहते हैं कि मॉडर्नाइजेशन अगर होती है तो जो सोसाइटी है वो बहुत सेक्युलर हो जाती है. बट इन केस ऑफ इंडिया आई डोंट थिंक एनी जनरलाइजेशन वर्क्स. अब इंडिकेटर्स इन्होंने सेक्युलराइजेशन के क्या रखे हैं इन ऑर्डर टू से दिस, लाइक इन्वॉल्वमेंट विद रिलीजियस ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस, ठीक है, फॉर एग्जाम्पल चर्च अटेंडेंस इन्होंने लिया होगा, सोशल मटीरियल इन्फ्लुएंस ऑफ रिलीजियस ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस लिया होगा, ठीक है, एंड डिग्री टू विच पीपल होल्ड रिलीजियस बिलीफ, ये सब लिया होगा. बट इंडिया इज ऑल टुगेदर डिफरेंट. अभी रिसेंट ईयर्स में इफ़ यू सी in the world also, and especially in India, there has been unprecedented growth of religious consciousness and conflict over the world. Middle East crisis भी उसी पे है. See, everything, you know, there is this fight. Why is there fight? अगर तो theorists तो कहते हैं, assume करते हैं कि अगर modern societies हैं तो वो secular होनी चाहिए, तो हम modernization की तरफ जा रहे हैं तो हम secular क्यों नहीं है? और अगर हम secular हैं तो religions के बीच में conflict क्यों आ रहा है? Understanding. Religiously conscious क्यों हो रहे हैं हम? आज से थोड़ी, it is not that today you were, you know, you just got up today from bed and you decided you're, you know, you belong to a particular religion. ऐसा तो कुछ नहीं हुआ. पहले भी थे, ठीक है, 100 generations पहले भी religions थे. आज क्यों conflict है despite of modern societies? That is what we people need to understand. However, even in the past, a view that assumed कि modern ways would necessarily lead to decline in religious ways has not been entirely true. देखिए, मॉडर्न तो मैंने आपको एग्जांपल समझा दिया कि ग्रोथ ऑफ रिलीजियस कॉन्शियसनेस है. अर्लियर ऑल्सो कि बोला जाता था कि अगर आप मॉडर्न हो जाएंगे तो आप सेक्युलर हो जाएंगे. सेक्युलर का मतलब है रिलीजियस वेज का डिक्लाइन होना. बट क्या हुआ है? थिंक अबाउट इट. इतनी ज़्यादा रिफॉर्मेशंस आई हैं. वी हैव आर्य समाज, वी हैव ब्रह्मो समाज, वी हैव वहाबी मूवमेंट्स, वी हैव मेनी मूवमेंट्स इन रिलीजन. तो मॉडर्नाइजेशन से सेक्युलराइजेशन कैसे आ सकती है? बिकॉज सेक्युलराइजेशन का मतलब है डिक्लाइन इन रिलीजियस वेज, जबकि कहीं तो इसीलिए रिफॉर्म आई थी, रिफॉर्म ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, कि उनको रिफॉर्म रिलीजियस उस पर चाहिए था, एस्पेक्ट पे. You will recall how Western and modern forms of communication, organization, ideas led to the emergence of new kinds of religious reform organizations, right? And you will also understand that a considerable part of ritual in India has direct reference to the pursuit of secular ends. See, now I don't know about many religions, but let's talk about Hinduism. Now, when you ask somebody, ki, are you a Hindu? You might know that there are some people who will say, no, I am an atheist. I don't believe in God at all. Right? But people don't realize कि Hinduism is a way of life. It gives you, you know, even if you're an atheist, you're a Hindu. Even if you're an atheist, you might belong to a particular religion. You might be a Muslim, even if you're an atheist. Okay. So I don't know how much it holds true for Muslims, but for Hinduism, this is it. So आज से नहीं, हमारे रिलीजन में हमेशा वी हैव ट्राइड टू रीच फॉर सेक्युलर एंड्स. तो ये जो जनरलाइजेशन वाली स्टेटमेंट है ना कि मॉडर्न सोसाइटी सेक्युलर होती हैं, ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं है. पुरानी सोसाइटीज़ भी सेक्युलर होती, वी नेवर नो होंगी, राइट? यू नेवर नो, बट ये जनरलाइज्ड स्टेटमेंट इज नॉट करेक्ट. So now I am not that well read of a person in in the case of religion, but if anybody is, you can always tell ki which religion goes for a secular, always strive for secular ends, because I feel every religion does it. Okay, so let's move forward. Now the concept which we are going to do is secularization of caste. Let's understand what this is. There has also been considerable debate about what is seen by some as secularization of caste. एक debate है, let's understand what it is. In traditional India, caste system operated within a religious framework. वो ये purity pollution वाला concept आपको पता है, right? और ये सब जो purity pollution है ये religion के center में था, like central to practice, and religious framework में ही ये divisions हुई हैं caste system की, right? आज castes also work as political pressure groups. Why? Because this is a democratic country. Everybody has the right to strive for whatever they want. ठीक है, जो उनको चाहिए उनको पूर्ण आज़ादी है. You need to understand that. Now, contemporary India has seen such formation of caste associations and caste political parties. अब कई political parties हैं जो only based on castes हैं, right? They seek to press upon the state their demands, क्योंकि उनकी demands ऐसी. Whenever you want your demands to be fulfilled in a democratic nation like India, you need to have a political front. You need to have a front, चाहे वो pressure group की तरफ से एक front हो. क्योंकि अगर वो नहीं होगा तो how would your community get their point across to the government? Think about it, okay? They seek to press upon state at their demands. Such a changed role of caste has been described as secularization of caste. कि पहले कास्ट कैसी थी, अब कास्ट ऐसी है, तो ये सेक्युलराइजेशन माना जाता है. सो लेट्स अंडरस्टैंड इट कि दिस इज अ सिचुएशन wherein a caste has detached from its ritual status hierarchy on one hand, कि जो उसकी स्टेटस हायरार्की है ना उससे वो थोड़ी दूर आ गई है, एंड हैज़ इम्पार्टेड इट अ कैरेक्टर ऑफ अ पावर ग्रुप फंक्शनिंग इन द कंपेटिटिव डेमोक्रेटिक पॉलिटिक्स ऑन द अदर. एक तरह से वो रिचुअल वाली जगह से नीचे आए हैं और डेमोक्रेटिक पॉलिटिक्स में ऊपर जा रहे हैं एज अ प्रेशर ग्रुप, एज अ पोलिटिकल पार्टी, एज अ ग्रुप दैट हैज़ इट्स ओन डिमांड्स फॉर इट्स ओन कम्युनिटी. अब देखिए, लाइक यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड कि रिलीजन, कास्ट्स, दीज आर बिग कॉन्सेप्ट्स, ओके? और हम एक डेमोक्रेटिक नेशन है. लेट्स नॉट फॉरगेट कि रिलीजन जो है वो बहुत ही बड़ी टर्म है, बहुत वाइड स्कोप है. रिलीजन के अंदर भी आर फर्दर डिवाइडेड, ओके? तो ये जो डिविजन्स है ना, इससे ऊपर उठना है तो सेक्युलराइजेशन ऑफ कास्ट इज़ वन वे. द कास्ट्स हैव सर्वाइव्ड, दे आर ट्राइंग टू सर्वाइव, ओके? सो I hope this is the last slide. I think so, but then conclusion is left. Let's end with the conclusion, okay? Hence, this chapter shows the distinct ways that social change has taken place in India. हमें पता लग रहा है कैसा हुआ है. The colonial experience had lasting consequences. We all know that. Many of these were unintended and paradoxical. Unintended education, introduction of English language. Paradoxical is contradictory, okay? एग्जाम्पल दिया है पीछे. वेस्टर्न आइडियाज ऑफ मॉडर्निटी शेप द इमेजिनेशन ऑफ इंडियन नेशनलिस्ट्स. Liberty, equality, fraternity. Let's talk about that. It also prompted a fresh look at traditional texts by some. It also led to a rejection of these by others. ये भी समझाया है. Because once you get these ideas, what will you? You will start questioning your own ideas. जो आपको लोग कहते आ रहे हैं, जो आपको सोसाइटी सुनाती आ रही है. Or sometimes what happens is you are a staunch believer of your own ideas, so you start questioning their ideas. The idea of equality and democracy made a huge impact, और ये रिफॉर्म मूवमेंट्स में हमें दिखता भी है. This led not just to the adoption of Western ideas but also an active questioning and reinterpretation of tradition. देखिए यहीं पे दिमाग की बात है कि it did not just involve कि हमें लैंग्वेज इंट्रोड्यूस हुई और हमें पता लगा और हमने उनका आइडियाज़ पढ़े और हमने उनको अडॉप्ट कर लिया. ऐसा नहीं हुआ. हमने उन्हें अडॉप्ट किया जो अडॉप्ट करने लायक थे, राइट? उनको क्वेश्चन भी किया, उनको प्रूव भी किया, उनको रीइंटरप्रेट भी किया. ठीक है? किसको ध्यान में रख के? ट्रेडिशन को ध्यान में रख के. सो दिस इज़ हाउ थिंग्स वर्क. ये बहुत कॉम्प्लेक्स चीज़ें हैं. लेट्स अंडरस्टैंड इट वेल, okay? And I think this is it for the video. The second chapter is finished, and we hope that we'll be able to finish the syllabus, okay? So, and thank you for all your gentle reminders, okay? So please stay safe, stay home, and study hard. Thank you.